Road Dog Boxing, motherfucker.
Gervonta Tank Davis is a bigger hype job than I thought he was. And why do I say that? Well, it's because I thought Tank Davis would have been able to knock out Lamont Roach. I thought for sure Gervonta Davis would be able to knock out Lamont Roach because Lamont Roach is moving up from the super featherweight division. And I'm not on the bandwagon full of these casuals that think that just because Lamont Roach beat Gervonta Davis, that now makes Lamont Roach a top 5 on the rankings, or this somehow makes Lamont Roach a pound for pound fighter. No, not at all. I don't see Lamont Roach like that at all. And before I go in and start cooking on Lamont Roach, let me just start off by saying this. Lamont Roach won that fight. I believe that the judges, the referee, and the whole sport of boxing let Lamont Roach down this past Saturday, because Lamont Roach, he has been dreaming about that fight. He's been dreaming about that day, and he finally got it. He finally got to take on the biggest name around his weight division, only to get robbed of that win and not be able to celebrate in the moment. All of the blood, sweat, and tears that Lamont Roach put into the sport, only to not get his just due, is a big reason why I hate this sport. And I believe is a big reason why boxing in the United States has been on decline since the early 2000s. Right around the time Floyd Mayweather began cherry picking and fighting real economically, real defensive style first, back foot bitching it pretty much. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day and a whole nother video. Let me get back to this Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach drama. Like I was saying, just because Lamont Roach beat Tank Davis does not make this guy Lamont Roach a pound for pound great, nothing like that. He's a good fighter with good fundamentals and somewhat power, but to say he's a top 5 in the lightweight division, nah, man. And this goes to show you that Tank Davis is a hype job, a bigger hype job than I thought that he was. Because if this same Lamont Roach goes and he fights Shakur Stevenson is making light work out of Lamont Roach. He's schooling this guy. And if he fights Keyshawn Davis is sleeping this boy. If the businessman and the Reaper ever meet in that ring, Lamont Roach is going 9-9. So that's why I say that Tank Davis is a bigger hype job than I thought that he was. Because he was supposed to knock this guy out, man. So I had this fight 116 to 111 for Lamont Roach. I gave 8 rounds to Lamont, 4 rounds to Tank Davis. And the reason I had it 111 to 116 is because I actually scored the knockdown in the 9th round. But not only did Lamont Roach score a knockdown, he also landed more punches than Gervonta Davis. I remember Lamont Roach being the more active, throwing the jab out there, and every time Tank hit Roach with some shots, Lamont Roach would get his licks right back. In the 9th round, where Tank Davis took a knee and he stuck his head right through the rope so his coach could wipe his face off because he had some type of hair grease in his eyes, was absolutely nasty work. Because I remember when Sebastian Fundora around this time last year elbowed the top of Tim Tszyu's head and had blood raining from Tim Tszyu's forehead right into his eye. I don't remember Tim Tszyu calling a timeout just to get the privilege to run to his corner and have his trainers wipe the blood out of his eyes because it was burning. Had Tim Tszyu did some shit like that, he would have never heard the end of it. Had that been Lamont Roach that took a knee, do you think that referee would have stopped counting? No, hell no. That knockdown would have stuck. But all of the Gervonta Tank Davis meat lovers and fanboys will admit that what Davis did was some bullshit. Because again, just imagine this had been anybody else that pulled some shit like this. The boxing world would have been on their ass. Imagine had that been Shakur Stevenson or Keyshawn Davis, Lamont Roach that took a knee. That referee would have kept counting. That referee, Steve Willis, was definitely on some corruption. He was on the payroll for sure, Al Heyman's. But overall, Gervonta Davis definitely got a gifted draw. Lamont Roach won that fight. And the reason why I know Lamont Roach won that fight is because the judges gave Tank Davis a draw. If the judges could have gotten away with a worse decision, they would have. But Lamont Roach did way too well. He did too good to just rob him on the scorecards just like that, which is why they gifted Tank Davis a draw. And here's another thing. As a hardcore fan, I am realizing that I am so brainwashed. I am so conditioned to the robberies and the corruption that even though I knew in the back of my mind that Lamont Roach had won that fight, when Jimmy Lennon Jr. was reading the scorecards, I was expecting a split decision win for Tank Davis. I was so surprised. I was surprised that Lamont Roach actually got a draw, to be honest. At first, right after the fight, Gervonta Davis did not sound interested in running it back with Lamont Roach. However, since Lamont Roach and his team have been talking about having the New York Athletic Commission overturn the draw into a loss for Gervonta Davis, Tank Davis now sounds more receptive to a rematch. But for me, the damage has already been done, because if Tank Davis is as good as his meat mushers and fanboys claim that he was or he is, he wouldn't need no rematch with Lamont Roach. The fact that Tank Davis needs a rematch with Lamont Roach proves my point that Tank Davis is a hype job. A bigger hype job than what I originally thought that he was. I now see why Tank Davis avoided Lomachenko for all those years. Tevin Farmer, Gary Russell. Now I see why he don't want no smoke with Shakur Stevenson or Keyshawn Davis, Teofimo Lopez. Why he had to put a rehydration clause on a subpar and over-glorified prospect like Ryan Garcia. I now see why Tank Davis has a problem with Turki Al-Sheikh and does not want none of that Saudi Arabian smoke. I now see why. And I mean, this is nothing new. I've been knowing this. However, this fight with Lamont Roach has confirmed. It's a confirmation of what I was thinking this whole time. And again, salute to Lamont Roach for doing his thing and winning the night. However, just because Roach beat Tank Davis does not make Roach this super talented fighter or a killer. Nah, nothing like that. Because I remember watching Jamel Herring make easy work of this guy Roach. The same Jamel Herring that got whooped on by Shakur Stevenson. I'm not going to start looking at Roach as this great fighter that beat Tank Davis just because he beat Tank Davis. Nah, because if Roach decides to move back down, right, back to the super featherweight division, and he takes on Emmanuel Navarrete, I got Navarrete beating this guy, potentially even stopping Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach is a good fighter. That does not mean that he's this great fighter just because he beat Tank Davis. Again, all this proves is that Tank Davis is a bigger hype job than what we thought that he was. But guys, girls, that's all I got for this one, man. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. To all my subscribers, I want to thank you for fucking with me. And you already know. Once again, this has been your boy O-Dog Boxing, and I'm out this bitch.